Who's tired of winter? Who's ready for spring? I'm ready for Buddy got spring fever. These guys are ready for spring.
I'd like some chocolate.
I'm gonna star in a video. Yeah, I am.
I'd like to be in a video.
Oh, here she comes. Here's my big moment. I'm ready for my close-up.
Hey, what about me? I'm ready for a close-up too. Yeah, hot dog, we're gonna be in a movie.
So you're going to make your own little gnome buddies. Your kit comes with all the supplies you'll need. Just add water. Be sure you've read over the instructions, especially the side that has the helpful hints. For this project, your clay is already rolled into a slab. If you'd like it thinner, you can roll it out some more. Don't get it too thin though. Our first step is to make a cone shape out of the clay. We're going to use this cup as a support inside the clay, and also it's helpful in knowing what shape to cut the clay. So use it as a guide, cut out the shape, and then wrap it around the cup. You're going to leave that cup inside and use it to support the shape of our gnome, and we'll let it dry on the cup even. And I will take it out once it gets to the studio. So you're going to leave that cup in there the whole time. What you see here is called scoring. I'm taking the sharp pointy stick and I'm scratching both surfaces that are going to be attached. Then I'm adding a little bit of water and we're going to call that slip, and I'm going to smooth the edges. In your instructions, we refer to this as score, slip, and smooth. Keep your water or sponge nearby. If it feels like your clay is not smoothing and it's starting to dry out a little, just wet your fingertips and add a little water. Just make sure you're not adding too much. You don't want it to get muddy or too slippery. Next, I'm gonna make the nose, and I'm gonna make a sphere shape that's a little larger than what I actually want the nose. I'm gonna use the excess clay to attach to the cone part. So I've made a teardrop shape for the nose, and before I can attach one piece to the other, remember, score, slip, and smooth. I'm using a lot of the clay on that nose to attach and smooth, so it's going to be a lot smaller than the shape that I attached. You can keep that in mind as you're attaching pieces. Always include a little extra clay to smooth onto the piece you're attaching it to. So as I'm adding the nostrils to my little gnomie's nose, of course I think of the old adage, we can pick our friends and we can pick our nose, but can we pick our friend's nose? No! So it's time to add the brim onto the hat, and here's where you'll use your imagination. There's so many different styles of hats. Some people like the brim to hang down over onto the nose. I've seen styles where they flip it up and it has a brim that's reminiscent of a cowboy hat or something along those lines. This is up to you. Use your imagination. Shape it however you'd like. Just remember to score, slip, and smooth. Score and a slip and a score and a slip and a smooth, smooth. Score and a slip and a score and a slip and a score and a smooth, smooth, smooth. Smooth, 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 smooth. Notice I'm keeping my extra clay and any pieces that I cut off wrapped in plastic the whole time I'm working. This is one of the fun parts about customizing your own gnome. You can add all sorts of little designs to their hat. And these are things you can make out of clay and paint onto it before we fire. Or you can also think about things to add once it's been fired, like feathers or buttons or other cute little things. The possibilities are endless. The type of gnome you make is up to you. You may want to have a gnome with facial hair. Super easy. Attach a piece and shape it how you'd like, and then you can give it a texture by using your pointy wooden stick and just scratching into the surface. If you want to have a female gnome without facial hair, you can make a little mouth and give it any expression that you'd like. Remember to keep all your extra pieces wrapped in the plastic so it doesn't dry out. Every time I add a piece to my sculpture, I score it and add some water to make the slip, and then I smooth it and make sure it's good and attached. If I were to just stick this buckle on the hat without this preparation, once it dried, it could just pop right off. And sometimes that happens in the kiln. Pieces fall off if they haven't been attached. So you really want to make sure that it's good and attached with the score, slip, and smooth. Well, hello, little fella. His personality's starting to come out. Oh, I think she likes him. So I'm going to let this little fella dry for about an hour before I paint him. And I have these pieces I've worked on that have already dried. So I'm going to use special paints that can be applied before firing. Be sure and only use the paints provided in your kit. Any other paints or glazes are not able to go in the kiln. Any mistakes in painting are very easy to fix. You can just scratch it off instead of painting over it. Let the paint dry between coats. You want to paint 2 to 3 coats for good solid coverage. If you get any paint on the bottom of your sculpture, wipe it off with your sponge. This will help keep it from sticking to the shelves on the kiln when we fire it. Oh, I can tell already, me and this little fellow, we're gonna be friends. You can see where I added some detail to the rope around his hat by scratching some lines. And I'm going to do the same thing with his beard. Keep in mind when you're painting, this clay will turn white in the kiln. So the areas that you see that are gray will look white once it's been fired. Once your piece has dried a little bit, you can scratch other details into the surface. So if you have some areas that you want in your design to be white, just leave it unpainted. So I'm finishing up with some details here on the hair. You can see some of the details that I scratched in the paint on the hat there. It takes a couple weeks for your piece to be completely dry and fired, so we'll contact you when it's ready. One of the most important things that you're going to do for this project is in the very end, and that is making sure that you carefully wrap it up to return to the studio. Wrap it up and deliver it very carefully. The best part is when it's ready, you can come pick it up and bring home your new gnome. Who's a cute gnome? He's a little cute gnome. You're a cute gnome. You are. Yes, you are. You are.